The Beach FM Business Lunch Show, brought to you by PlaceMakers Kapiti and Horowhenua. Together we're building New Zealand.
Welcome back to the Business Lunch Show on Beach FM 106.3 on your Thursday afternoon. Let's talk a bit of retail now, and let's welcome to the show from Hipsta. It is Debbie Deans. G'day, Debbie.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm very well, mate. How are you doing at this time?
Good, thanks.
Excellent. Hey, it's been an interesting time for all of us, and on the Business Lunch Show, we've been talking to local businesses in the region. First and foremost, how we like to always start the interviews is just to get to know our people a bit more. How long's Hipsta been around, and what was the idea behind it?
Okay, so we have been open since 2005 in Cram Beach. So the idea behind it was I started travelling quite early on in life, and I travelled quite extensively. And it was when I reached Asia in India that I just absolutely fell in love with the country. And I travelled there for a good 6 months. And when I was there, I just never ever, I was 19 when I left New Zealand, and I must have hit Asia around 21. And I just never in my life seen anything like India before. I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the colours. I fell in love with the smells. I fell in love with the textiles, the Manchester, the handicraft. And when I got to India, it just completely changed my life. And that was it. I just knew that this is what I wanted to do. So I started bringing back a little bit of stock, just by post. To start off with, and come back to New Zealand for the summers, and I'd do festivals, markets, and I'd take that stock that I'd brought back, just, by post, 20 kilo parcels to start off with, and just had a hobby, really. And I started off with Manchester, tablecloths, and I really liked the carpets and incense, so I brought that sort of stuff back first. Went to the market and realised there was a demand for it. And then I think I was at the very first Organic River Festival. I don't know if many of your viewers, listeners would have remembered that festival, but someone came up to me, and I had I had all my handicrafts and incense there. Someone came up to me and asked, "Oh, is this door hanging a skirt?" So it was one of the door hangings that went over the doors, and they put it around their waist, and they said to me, "Is this a skirt?" And I said, "No," but that was an absolute light bulb moment. And that moment was it. Then I started importing clothing. So obviously over the years, I learned how to import properly, and I started, sending back 20 kilo boxes until today where I'm doing three containers a year coming in.
Wow.
So it's been a huge learning curve. I mean, I'm 43 now. I started when I was 20. 21, slowly bringing the products back in. And before I opened Hipsta in 2005, I did markets for 6 years solidly in New Zealand, so travelling all around New Zealand, doing festivals, doing shows, doing markets, everything. And I'd make a lot of things as well. Just really enjoying life, really, as you do in your 20s. And then I'd leave in the winters, and I'd go back to Asia again, and learn how to do it a bit better than how I started. And eventually I learned everything by myself. No one taught me how to do it. It was I learned everything. I did everything wrong to begin with, and it's been a real adventure, and I love it. I've just got so much passion for it, and
Debbie.
I just.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, wow. Just listening, taking it all in. So tell me about those 6 years you traveling around New Zealand. I want to talk about those for a second, because it sounds, for me, and just outside of looking in, it would have been pretty hard for you to maybe, I don't know, to actually just stop and set up shop and go, okay, this is my place of work.
Yeah, it was. And my mum got sick, so that's why I stopped. So, I travelled a lot, and then I sort of stopped because my mum fell ill, so I came to look after her in Waikanae. So that's what brought me to the Kapiti Coast, because they had a little holiday home up here.
Yeah.
So, and that's when I stopped, and that's what I thought. I saw that little shop in Paparan Beach, and It was for lease, the one I was in McLean Street, 10 McLean Street. And I remember going there and looking at it, and I'm like, oh, shall I, I open here at a permanent, well, it was only a 6-week gig I was going to take it on for. Actually, I never had a lease the whole entire time I had that shop. But it was only meant to be for the summer period.
Yeah.
And right from the get-go, when I opened that store, I was supported. The Kapiti people have supported Hipsta from the day I opened. It was just mind-blowing. And I set up, and they've seen what I've done. I've invested Kapiti is the best, Pram is the best Hipsta by far. It's my, flagship store. I absolutely love it. And they've seen how it's developed along the years. I mean, I set up that store with my little market set up, my little trestles and tables. There was no big fit out. There was no colour on the walls. It was just, and those that have followed the journey of Hipsta, they would have seen how, we've gotten more proper fit out and, along the years we've got some cabinets and, that's exciting. We've got a computer system and barcodes and scanners and this journey, I learned how to do this every step of the way.
Yep.
I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have someone telling me how to do it. I kept growing and growing and growing and growing. And the only reason I kept growing is because the people in Kapiti supported it.
Yep.
So it's really, really, really special. And, we had, along the time that I was in the 15 years in McLean Street, we had competitors open up around us but people still supported our shop, which is it's just so neat. And we try and have something for everybody. It's quite amazing when you go in there, you'll be surprised. Yeah, and then my biggest dream happened last year, and that was buying the shop, the old High Tide. So I managed to purchase that, and I just did the best fit out. I'm always reinvesting the money. It's just a never-ending cycle, and my goal was I wasn't going to move until I could buy a location and make the best possible store after all these years of learning how to do it, to make the best possible shop I could for the people in Kapiti to come into such a neat space. And they've done this, If I didn't have that support, I wouldn't be here.
Brilliant.
So it's so neat, and I'm just so stoked. I can't thank the people of Kapiti enough, really. I mean,
I love hearing that stuff, Debbie. I love hearing the support that this region gives people. We've seen it completely right through the COVID pandemic, how much, businesses coming back, and the first post that they throw out is about their next door neighbours back to work tomorrow or something. It's just been pretty awesome to see. What I do want to ask, and this is I need to ask this because you've learned so much by yourself, and I'm sure you've learned from your mistakes as well. But what has been one of those biggest things in your learnings as a business owner that you didn't know before, and it kind of you learned pretty quickly, or you had to adjust to it pretty quickly?
There's been two really, really big ones.
Yeah.
One is learning how to import properly.
Right.
So I thought I could go overseas and just bring back billabong shorts and, a few copyrights here, there and everywhere. Yeah. But no, we can't do that. Customs stung me. I had lawyers all over my back.
Wow.
So that was a big learning curve.
Yes.
So that got me learning how to import properly. And, but you make mistakes. I was young. I thought it would be cool. You make mistakes to learn, and then you learn how to do it correctly, Another massive, massive, massive one for me is definitely staff.
Right.
We employ about 16 staff. And, when you start to take on your first couple of staff, it's hard. It's really hard because it's hard to let go of your business and let staff run it, because I'm so pedantic and particular, and I want things done correctly, but they're not me, so it's learning to trust in them. And because, then there's contracts and all that sort of thing I've got to learn about. And that's not I just want to be behind the shop selling. I can sell anything. I want to be behind the shop selling to all these neat customers. I don't want to be dealing with staff and contracts and blah, blah, blah. But you have to.
Yes.
So the biggest thing I learned was, okay, well, this is probably I'm not very good at this. I mean, I love all my staff, and without my staff, we can't have this business. So I took that away and I employed a company called EmploySure. I don't know if anyone out there knows EmploySure, but I will 1,000% recommend them. I could not do this without them. And they look after all my contracts. They look after all that side of things. So I am protected in that way, and then I can move along, and all my staff are happy. I don't have to deal with anything like that. I've got an office lady who manages all of that sort of thing, and it's the letting go. It's the letting go and having faith that your staff, have got this. And, I hire really neat people, really neat staff, and I've learned how to work with them throughout the years. There's been a lot of mistakes that I've made, but I've learned what my strengths are and my weaknesses, and I've rectified that. Yeah, that's the honest truth.
Awesome. I love the honesty, mate. I love it. Hey, speaking of honesty, and not to bring anything down, because hopefully it was a recharge time, maybe think creatively differently, I don't know, but how was COVID for you, mate? I mean, I know one of your big things is you still go back overseas each year and maybe even take a lucky staff member with you, but now we're all closed off now, mate. So how is that meant you've had to adapt with your store journey?
Yeah, so this is another huge one for me. I go overseas after Easter every single year. I have done for 20 plus years. I go overseas after Easter, April, May, depending on May, of course, and I buy for the winter the summer and the following winter. Okay, and then I go overseas in Easter again and do the same. It's just a repetition every single year. Yeah. So this year, first and foremost, we got a new website running immediately, because my old website wasn't really a web selling based site. It was just more who we are, what we do, blah, blah, blah. Right. And so we did that first, which is really good because that's going off. We then, invested in the click and collect, and again, I outsourced all of that because that's not my specialty. And now, so, I love importing. I love going overseas. I love my suppliers and my family. I've watched their children grow up, everything. So these people, they mean so much to me, and they mean so much to my family and also the business. So it has been really hard because I go over there, I select fabrics, I select patterns, clothing, and everything gets made, okay? Right. So you can imagine I've got to bring back 2 containers right now. So it's taken me till now to complete my orders because they've had to send, say, like, for example, a photo of a dress. I need to change the design. I need to do the small, medium, large, extra large sizes, whatever. I need to choose the patterns, the fabrics, etc. for that one item of clothing. So imagine doing a whole container like that via photos. No. It's hard. It's hard, and it's been really, really stressful. So Thailand, my order's leaving on the 10th of August. So that's exciting because Thailand's up and running. India, on another hand, is well different. So what's happened in India is you've got all the bosses that own, say, all the shops, and then you've got all their workers. Their workers have all gone back to the villages, okay? So that means they can't do anything. They can't, they can't make the product and pack the product or anything. So we're still waiting for them all to come back from the villages so they can help out and start orders. So they've got so many orders that are going to go out soon, but they're not back working yet still. So if I get my Indian container, before Christmas, I'll be lucky. Wow. Very, very lucky. But in retrospect to that, the exciting news is that it's made me think completely out of the square. Yes. And what I've done is I've used the wholesalers in New Zealand a lot more. So I've smashed all my money within those wholesalers in New Zealand.
Oh, cool.
So instead of my money going where it would have in Easter overseas, it's all gone in to New Zealand wholesalers.
Brilliant.
Which is really cool because what that's done, it's broadened, the things I'm selling, and obviously investing the money in New Zealand, and then I'm having a bit different product in, and I'm making new connections, and it's all about connections and processes of business. Just that's it, connections, and it's all a process. Yeah.
That's it.
So it's good. It's actually good. It's actually really fun because it's changed, like when you do things the same all the time, obviously it's working, but it's good to change it up like this. In hindsight, looking in now, it's actually been really good. Yeah. Although it's been hard, it's been good. Does that make sense?
Yes, no, definitely. Hey, I've
I don't know.
I know I've loved buzzing off you, mate. To be honest with you, I've learned, I've learned that you're pretty set on sticking to your skills. If it's not your forte, outsource it.
Yes.
Let's be honest. Let's not waste our time on things that we're not good at. If there's someone to do it better, I'm loving your outlook on everything. How you adapted through COVID so many different ways. Some people just did their website, mate, but you've done different ways. So I commend you on coming on and having a yarn and sharing your positivity and your passion for what you do. Lastly, I could talk to you. I'm not going to lie. I could talk to you all day, but I'm going to have to let you go because, we got to pay the bills and stuff. But lastly, Debbie, where can people find you and how can they get in touch?
Oh, it's so easy. So we're just on Marine Parade in the old High Tide shop in Paparan Beach. We're also in Otaki, in Arthur Street, and actually in George Street in Palmerston North, and also in Napier. Yeah, but check us out online, www.hipsta.co.nz. That's all you need to know. Everything's on the website.
Fantastic. Debbie Deans, thank you so much for your time. Go well, my friend. We'll catch up soon.
Sweet as, thanks.